This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin's won 8 of their last 10 games. That's including a monster comeback win over number 8 Illinois last night. It was the 7th win against a top 10 team on the road under Coach Greg Garr. No school has more than that in the same period of time, and it has moved Wisconsin to 9-4 on the year. One of the big weapons last night, Austin Rapp. He hit 4 3-pointers, finished with 18 points. It was another good outing after early struggles to adapt for the Portland transfer. Coach Greg Garr said his improvement not strictly related to his shooting.
We've always been encouraging him. He has to be more than a three-point shooter, be a complete player, and he's growing into that. He's got a long ways to go, but it's a heck of a weapon when you have somebody that's much like Illinois has a few of those guys that with size that run around that shoot threes. It's hard to guard.
Wisconsin now going to move on, get ready for number 10 Michigan State coming up on Friday night. Going to be the lone meeting between the two schools in the regular season. They split their meetings a year ago. Tip on Friday is at 7. Turn to the Bucks. They're taking on Orlando tonight. It's the second straight game between the two, with the Magic taking the first one back on Monday.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up, and support starts with all of us. At home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Well, Luke Getsy is Green Bay's new quarterbacks coach. Getsy served in that role for the first 3 years of Matt LaFleur's tenure before being the offensive coordinator in Chicago and then Las Vegas. He had been serving as an offensive assistant a year ago for Green Bay. And Wisconsin going to be represented by 2 players at the NFL Combine, Vinny Anthony and Mason Reiger. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Okay, he missed it. 5.7. Wagler. He's been the superstar. Wagler for the win. Wisconsin has won in Champaign for the first time in 7 years.
This league is not for the faint of heart. Again, as I told Brad after the game, he's got a heck of a team, which I knew coming in, and we're growing into a heck of a team too.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Final call on Peacock from John Fanta last night. Badgers beating the Fighting Illini. I didn't think there was a chance they were winning that game. And you heard me at the end of the show last night. It's like, Wisconsin playing Illinois in Champaign tonight. This will go well. I can't believe they won that game, especially when they were down. What was the largest lead that they were down 12 in the second half at one point or another? I didn't think they were winning that game. So that's where we will begin tonight. The game was on Peacock, like I said. Normally, I don't. Peacock, of all the streamers, Peacock annoys me least. Because if you're subscribing to Peacock to get access to college basketball, you get a lot of it. It's not just one game here and there. Like the fact that Netflix gets a Christmas exclusive drives me nuts. If I'm subscribing for a service, I want to package a game. So Peacock gives me that. The problem is I opened it up on my phone because I watched it on my phone last night, and I had to go into live, and it wasn't there. And then I went to sports, and it wasn't. And then it's all Olympic. I spent so long looking for it in the Peacock app that I actually Googled, is it on I checked DirecTV, where is this game? So I do have a little beef with Peacock after last night. But once I eventually found it and was able to watch the Badgers win in overtime last night. So that's where we will begin. My name is Grant Bills. Appreciate you being here. I'm on Twitter at Wisco Grant. The show live streams there and on our Wisco Sports Zone app. I was just using that app, in fact, this afternoon to listen to the latest episode of The Swing with Zach Heilprin and Jesse Temple. Jesse will join us in hour number 2 to talk Badger basketball. Chris McIntosh spoke this week with reporters as well. We'll talk about that. Fickell's contract. There was a little story there that I think is mostly a non-story, but I need Jesse to explain why it's a non-story. So you hear that. And a couple Badgers in the Olympics. So we'll cover that briefly as well. That's coming up in hour 2. Pitchers and catchers report today. So we'll do plenty of Brewers stuff tonight as well. But I do want to start with last night's game. I don't have some perfectly composed start to finish opening monologue. I just have a couple of things I want to hit. I think we should probably start bigger picture. That's probably the way that we can go more specific, and we can talk about some specific player performances and some more specific things. I think the view from 10,000 feet is that Wisconsin now has two of the most impressive road wins you could possibly think of. Like, if you were to talk about impressive road wins, if you were to rank all of the biggest road wins in college basketball, I don't know if Wisconsin has 1 and 2 at Michigan at the Chrysler Center and at Illinois last night, but they're right up there at the top. Now they got 2 of them. And I was reading some college basketball writers last night and reading some tweets from bracketology people. It's like, basically, that's a tournament berth. Those 2 wins are a tournament berth, assuming the rest of your season isn't a dumpster fire. And the rest of their season has had some hiccups and some bad losses, but it hasn't been a dumpster fire. I don't know that I've seen a team get 2 road wins that significant in a season. I mean, these are the types of wins that you're lucky to get once a year or every other year even. Wisconsin hadn't won in Illinois, I think, in 7 or 8 years. John Fanta mentioned it on that final call. They never win in Illinois. And when do you ever go to the Chrysler Center or the Breslin Center when Michigan's good and Dusty May has that thing going and Tom Izzo's always tough to beat? Like, you hope to get one of those wins every couple of years, maybe once a season. If the program is really cooking, you can hope to go to Mackey and win, or you can hope to go to Michigan or Michigan State win. You're certainly not getting 2 of those, and you're certainly not getting 2 of them in a season. And it would be one thing for Wisconsin to go on the road and get these wins if they were ranked 8th in the country, and they go to Michigan when Michigan's 2, and they go to Illinois when Illinois is 6. Wisconsin hasn't been ranked, and it's not that they're not good, but they're not elite. They're not the type of team, or they haven't had the resume up until this point this season of a team that should go on the road twice in one season and get wins like that. I talked about this with Jesse. We recorded about a half hour ago, so you'll hear him mention this, and I was just listening to The Swing. He mentioned it there as well. The resilience and the makeup of this team to not only suffer bad losses, they were hammered by BYU and Nebraska, and that Villanova loss is ugly as well. Like, they've had ugly losses. The resilience to have 30-point losses and wins in Illinois and Michigan in the same season, those things coinciding in the same season, speaks to the makeup and the resilience of a team and the way that they're wired. But in so many of these wins, they've also trailed by a pile. I mentioned last night they trailed by as many as 12. I didn't bookmark this tweet, but I'm pretty sure Zach tweeted this last night. So just give me 1 sec. I think I can get it for you here on the fly. In so many of their wins, they've trailed. Zach, I know Zach tweeted it. Give me 1 sec. Here it is. Not an easy way to live, but Wisconsin has come back from 10 down in 5 of their last 7 wins. So it's not just resiliency in the macro, horrible losses, unbelievable wins, but it's resiliency in the micro. Like, even in some of these wins, they're falling behind by 10 plus points. So it speaks to the makeup. It speaks to the resilience. That could be a little cliche. That just shows you what this team is made of. That just shows you this could be a special group. Maybe. I'll tell you what I'm not going to do tonight. And if others want to do this, that's fine. But I'm not going to do the thing tonight where it's like, it's wins like this, it's comebacks like that show you that this team could do something special in March. I'm putting my hands up in the air on what this team could or couldn't do in March. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. I have no interest in doing that right now because we've tried to pin that down in the past. It's never worked. So I don't care about the March thing and the makeup, and it just shows you what they're made of. That could be a little overblown. What matters to me, if we're talking about resiliency and makeup, what I'm more interested in that conversation is I think it speaks to the program. I think it speaks to the prestige or the belief in that building and in the players on that roster that when a season starts poorly, that's not okay. We're not just going to realize, well, I guess we're not that good. We got hammered by BYU. We got hammered by Nebraska. I guess we're just not that good. I guess we're just not going to have a good season. Because that's what everyone was thinking. That's what everyone was thinking the first couple of weeks, including myself. I was like, well, maybe this team just kind of stinks. And it would have been easy for these players to think that way. And I think it's especially easy in college basketball now because you're getting paid. And I don't think that players getting paid has made them lesser or has made them not as competitive. But I think it's easier to have a bad season in 2026 when it's like, well, I'm getting paid a bunch of money anyway, and if this doesn't work out, I always have options at the end of the year. I just think that's human nature. I'm not trying to like personally attack this generation of athletes or the way that college athletics are currently set up. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just pointing out a reality. When you're making money and you can transfer whenever you want, if you get 2 months into a season and it's not going like you thought, it's a little bit easier to stomach. And by my mind's eye, they weren't willing to stomach it. Again, in the macro or the micro. Nick Boyd, I think, showed dramatically, demonstrably earlier this year. He's like, I didn't come here to be a slightly above 500 team. I came here because this is a place that wins big time Big Ten games and goes to the tournament in March. We're in the mix in the Big Ten tournament. We're winning games in the NCAA tournament. And to me, I'm less about the puff piece of that just shows what this team is made of. Although they are made of the right stuff, clearly, because they're coming back. That part doesn't interest me. What interests me is what does it say about the program? Where if you're on this team and you're playing in this building, even if you're making money or even if you're only here a year, like Nick Boyd, like it's still like the belief in that building and the thought in that building is no, we're good. And anything else, we're not settling for anything else. And I think at certain moments, both in the season and in these individual games, they've had to dig their heels in and say, this is not going to fly. We need to bow up because the alternative isn't acceptable. This is Wisconsin. And that is what means more to me, because I think that translates to next season or the season, past. I think that tells us something about Greg Gard. I think that tells us something about our program. That's the comeback resiliency makeup. That's the part of that interests me. Some specifics from last night. I continue to be really impressed with Nolan Winter. This is the type of game you go into and you just expect Wisconsin's big to get bullied. Like, I expect Ethan Happ to get pushed around. I expect Steven Crowell to get mocked by Kofi Coburn or whoever. Like, I just expect them to get body slammed all over the place. And to my mind's eye, I am not a scout. I watched Nolan Winter and was really impressed with his physicality last night. He only had, he finished with 9 points? But a pile of rebounds. No. I'm looking at the Michigan box score. I was going to say he didn't have 9. He had 4. He had 4 points, but he had 11 boards and a really big, another heady, high IQ basketball play towards the end of the game. I'm impressed with what he's doing around the rim, which is counterintuitive, which is actually backwards. I thought Nolan Winter's issue would be physicality in the paint, and he's not as hefty as some other guys. He is thin, but I've been really impressed with the nose that he plays with and the attitude that he plays with. The physicality part, I actually been pretty impressed with. I've been underwhelmed by the skill. He doesn't make as many threes as I would like. He's not as reliable at the free throw line as I'd like. Like, to me, I always thought Nolan Winter would have the skill. I always thought that thing would always be there, and the physicality, that would be the question. Instead, it's been the opposite, which is actually fine with me because they can get the skill and the scoring from Rapp or from Boyd or from Blackwell. I would like Nolan Winter to hit some more threes, and I'd like the skill to be a little bit better, but they have skill elsewhere. I'm just surprised that his career has taken that form. Really impressed with Rapp. And this goes back to the resiliency thing, right? Like, if you come to Wisconsin, the expectation is high. We're not just going to come here, collect a check, and be okay with a mediocre season. Rapp looked like he was unplayable early in the year, and he was benched, and then he got hurt, and then he was sick, and now he's turned into a player. They're calling his number down the stretch. They're coming to him in big-time moments and on big possessions. He's playing in big possessions. I've been really impressed with Rapp. It's not that I cast him aside early in the year, but when you get a slew of new players coming in, you kind of got to decide, okay, which ones are hits and which ones are misses, because they're not all going to be hits. Even last year, when you hit a nuclear home run with John Tonje, there's other guys that's like, it didn't really work out there. Xavier Ramos. And even this year, it looks like Boyd is hitting. Well, okay, maybe it doesn't hit with Rapp. Or maybe it hits with Rhodey instead of Rapp. You know what I mean? Like, that part interests me. Again, like what Rapp gave them down the stretch. Coming to him in big spots. He might not be starting anymore. Been really impressed with him. One other thing that I thought was interesting, I was watching the Brad Underwood presser earlier today. I want to play you 2 cuts. This is him on the officiating. I think Brad Underwood is an interesting college basketball character.
You mentioned a few times that you think there's some calls that Keaton's not getting, and you talked about every game being officiated differently. How do you guide Keaton through that?
I have no idea. We sent 12 in the other day from Michigan State.
I think what he's saying is they sent 12 plays of film into the Big Ten for review. I believe that's what he's saying.
We'll send the missed out of bounds play in the first play of the overtime. That's egregious, right? I mean, it's egregious. We will definitely send in the 10-second call that happens. I mean, he's 5 feet from getting across half court, and there's 10-second call. And we got guys that miss that, and they're making I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know. I'm done talking to people. I don't get called. I'm done. I'm frustrated as heck. I'm very frustrated. And because it changes so much from game to game. We had a guy tonight we haven't had in 2 years. 2 years. Do a league game in 2 years.
So I'm with him on Big Ten officiating. Wisconsin fans, like Sunday wasn't exactly, or it was Saturday against Indiana at Assembly Hall. It wasn't exactly clean. I didn't talk about it much on Monday's show. Now, to be fair, we were talking mostly Super Bowl stuff. I tweeted about the end of the game, and you make quips about the officiating. You just kind of got to bake that in. I guess I was not locked into the game clock, an 8 or a 10-second violation. I guess I'm sorry. What I said after the Indiana game, it's like, hey, guys, Indiana didn't make a field goal in the final 10 minutes or in overtime. You can yell at the refs. You can be mad about the refs. You can't let a team come back and beat you when they don't make a field goal in the final 10 minutes of the game. So I never like crying about the refs when it can be avoided. This is the comment that more like, I know they got him. I know the Badgers got him. He was asked about Keaton Wagler, who is a stud, and another mention of the officiating, or the physicality or the nature of play. That's what gets me here.
But Brad, what more can you ask for Keaton right now? I mean, he feels like he's carrying such a huge load for you offensively.
Nothing. Yeah. Help. He needs help. He needs, they got picked up 94 feet and they denied him. And, not that bothers him, but it's remarkable, quite remarkable what he's been doing and the load he's done. I didn't realize he had 34. I mean, it was it was as quiet at 34 as there was, and he's getting beat on. Their bench stands up and claps.
Oh boy.
When they commit a hard foul on him in the first half. I looked at the official and I said, they're down clapping. He goes, well, that's not very classy. I said, not really, but Greg's a good friend, but that's what teams are trying to do to him is just be physical. And, we got to deal with that. Got to deal with that. Every game's
the Badgers
officiated.
Are standing up and clapping when they're hard fouling him. So the complaints about Big Ten officiating I'll hear, because that does happen here and there. It's happened to Wisconsin. That's fine. And the coach has got to, make a display of it. They were clapping hard when they committed a hard foul on Keaton. Wagler? God, he was a stud. That to me is the same as the Packers complaining about how the Bears have committed hard hits on Jordan Love. It's like, you guys got it. You got to stop, man. Yeah, he hit him in the head. I don't think he was trying to. Maybe he launched a little bit. You can't keep blowing games to your rival and then going to do media hits and say, well, we all knew they were dirty. We all knew that. Loser. You yell about that behind closed doors and then you go stick it back in their face. I'm so against losing a game and pointing out something that's not against the rules, something that's not cheating, but we just didn't like the way they carried themselves. It's well, guess what? You lost, so you got to stick it. You just have to. Those are the rules. And I heard Underwood talk about that. It's yep, that's what the Packers have become in this Bears rivalry. You lose on the field in games you shouldn't lose, and then you cry about how the other team, how the way that they carried themselves. And I just hate it. So I thought that was a loser look from Brad Underwood. The comment about the officiating is probably accurate. The Big Ten officiating is really inconsistent. I get that. They were standing up and clapping when they were committing hard foul. Are you serious? Brad Underwood's much more of a bulldog than this.
It was as quiet at 34 as there was. And he's getting beat on. Their bench stands up and claps, when they commit a hard foul on him in the first half. I looked at the official and I said, they're down clapping. He goes, well, that's not very classy. I said, not really, but Greg's a good friend, but that's what
Greg's a good friend. By the way, just something to point out. I don't know that you should whine about the officials when your team's 11 of 19 from the free throw line. I just don't like it. The whining about the officials I get, but complaining, well, they were clapping when they commit hard fouls. I don't know, Brad. Sorry. And again, I feel confident commenting on this, and I feel like I'm not being a hypocrite because I hate when the Packers do it, and they've been doing it now for 2 months. Let's take a break. Get to your phone calls on last night's Big Badger Win, everything going on with the Badger Hoops. 608-321-1670 to you right after this break.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
There's never been a better time to experience Pella in person and get all your questions answered. Join us at the Neary Spring Home Improvement Show, February 13th through the Wisconsin State Fair. Your in-home consultation at the show and receive a free Design Works rendering. Rest easy with Pella's 10-year limited warranty and get 0% interest for up to 48 months. Set your free in-home consultation at PellaWI.com.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show, right back into it, right back to talking Wisconsin basketball. Massive win last night. Won in Champaign for the first time in 7 years, 8 years. I need to go back and look again. Long time. To your phone calls as promised. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant. How you doing today?
Denny from Holman. I'm well.
Yes, sir. So, Underwood, if that score would have been 94-92 with Underwood winning, you wouldn't have heard anything from him, would you?
Yeah, and there's plenty of inconsistencies with the Big Ten reffing, so I get it. That's fine. Coach has got to do that. It's more his complaint that Wisconsin was clapping when they committed hard fouls. Like, that's separate. That's loser stuff.
You know, if anybody would have said something, it would have been the Badgers last week as they got robbed when they played when Indiana.
Yeah,
you know,
well, and Guard made similar comments. That's what you do. When you lose and you feel like the refs didn't, you got to make a statement because you got to get the league to pay attention. Like, I get that. It's the clap. They were clapping when they committed hard fouls. Like, give me a break.
That's what I'm saying. So that's as bad as Gene Katie pulling his wig off, throwing it on the floor.
That's
good old Gene. So I had a couple comments I wanted to ask about the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So we found out how special teams and kicking can be, didn't we? As the guy got five field goals. Do you think that he deserved to be the MVP, or did Walker?
There's some games where it's just tough. There's some games where it's just not an MVP. So I can't give you a strong answer. I think a kicker getting it would have been great. I'm not going to sit here and act like he deserved it more than anyone else. I don't know.
Right. No, right. I understand that. But I mean, I just thought that really, if you're looking at it on an important game like that and everything, without him connecting, you don't have those points.
Yeah. Well, and you'd say that they were all chip shots, but I mean, those aren't kicks that McManus has been making. Not all of them. Denny, I'm going to run you. I appreciate it. It's not that I don't want to talk. I do. Just got loaded phone lines. I want to make sure that we can talk Badgers hoops. I'm not anti soapbox about the refs guy. I have no problem with that because you have to do that. Coaches have to do that. It was Brad Underwood pitching a fit that Wisconsin's bench was clapping when they were committing hard fouls. It's what you do in the Big Ten. If there's some small freshman who's being relied on to score, beat him up, pick him up 94 feet, commit hard foul. That's grown up Big Ten basketball. So that is baby loser whiny talk. The ref stuff I get. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, I'll be quick. It's Corey.
Hey, Corey.
So the guy just in the morning about the clapping on the sideline, it actually reminds me more of the Cubs and their fans complaining and moaning when the Brewers pumped them in the playoffs and they brought out the L flag. Because they said that's just uncouth and unbecoming and such. So
I'm of the belief that when you lose, you have to eat it. You have to eat it. That's how it works.
And then as far as the Packers complaining about Hooper, I mean, yeah, my preference would be, I think it's a twofold thing, is that they would take it out on the field and take him out of the game maybe, and maybe put some dirty hits on him, versus Keyshawn Nixon jumping on top of a pile like an idiot and getting 15. But they are right in the main that the guy is a dirty player. He tried to take out Brock Purdy, too, in San Francisco.
Yeah,
but I agree with your assertion that rather than just complaining after the game like babies, or like when they are in Denver and Jordan Love is getting punked on the sideline, do something about it during the game, and they can say, yeah, we saw they're dirty players, so we're going to get some for ourselves too.
Yeah. So Corey, this is a great point. Good call, Corey. And I'm drawing the connection to Booker and the Packers, Austin Booker, not Hooper. It took me Austin Hooper. Austin Booker is a pass rusher who hit Jordan Love. And I've had to hear 3 or 4 Packers in press conferences say, well, it was a dirty hit. And maybe it was. He's kind of a launcher. I don't think he was trying to kill the guy, but it was a physical play. I don't want to hear about it when you lose, when you blow the game. That's whiny. You could talk about it behind closed doors, use it as motivation. You could say, F that guy in the locker room. You say that all you want. I don't want to hear about it publicly. You lost. You have to eat it. You don't need to go cheap shot the guy, Corey, but when you say do something about it, win. Win the football game or win the basketball game. That's what you can do about it. And if that includes, delivering big hits back, you don't have to be dirty, but delivering big hits or hard fouls back, then great. But the thing number one that you can do is win. And the Packers couldn't do it. That's why I'm using the Packers as a corollary for what we're hearing from Illinois and Brad Underwood. All right, another call here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, this is Ron.
Hey, Ron, what's going on?
Good. Huge win for the Badgers last night. That was a great win.
Massive.
And they showed a lot of guts coming back from 12 down. They didn't quit. And I have a message for Illinois. You were up 12, so you have nothing to complain about. So,
yeah, I kind of feel that way about the Badgers in Indiana. I don't know how many they were leading by, but so there are games, and Ron, I'm going to leave it there. It's a perfect call. I agree with the comeback and the resilience. There are certain games that the Badgers have lost where things haven't gone their way down the stretch. They didn't get a call. They're on the wrong side of a block charge, wrong side of a loose ball foul, or a close, physical play at the end. And it's like, well, if not for the call or if not for this, it's like, but remember, you were leading by 5 at a certain point with a minute left, or you're leading by 12. Like, you just kind of got to find a way to slam the door. So Brad Underwood can complain about officiating. I think all coaches probably just that naturally happens a couple of times a year because that's how you need to. That's the game. Excuse me. The basketball coaches need to play. I get that. They're mad about Keaton Wagler. That's what you should do. The skinny freshman's going to light it. We're going to commit some hard fouls. We're going to pick him up. We're going to make him work hard. We're going to make him bow up in a way that maybe a freshman isn't able to. And if you're clapping about it on the bench, like that's just such a loser tilt for me. And I really like Brad Underwood. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
I was just going to say, I love Brad Underwood.
I
think he makes perfect sense to be a Big Ten head coach, and to hear that from him, I'm disappointed.
He's just a bulldog. Like, and Cone, you will appreciate this. I think we're losing it a little bit in college football. These dictator, alpha, kind of scary, aura-filled coaches. We still have some in college basketball. I think a lot of them are in the Big Ten. You still have Izzo. You still have Underwood. We lost Fran, which is kind of sad, different. But like, I like these personalities. I do. I like Underwood. I think these guys are good for the sport.
Yeah, that's all you have now in the era of the transfer portal anyway, is these coaches.
Yeah. We cheer for the guy in the suit, not the guy in the jersey. At least guard wears a suit. He's a dying breed there too.
Yeah, seriously. And, I always love when the Badger basketball team, like Instagram accounts, put out those videos of them storming the locker room. Yesterday's was just special. Seeing Greg Gard wear that wig. Oh, that was awesome.
My favorite for a long time, and they need to get back to the Sweet 16, is when Greg Gard drank orange juice. Oh, that's sweet. Not as sweet as, or whatever he said. Like, they're always kind of cheesy and corny and stupid, but it doesn't matter because you just won a massive game. I like those videos. I'm a fan.
Yeah, and it's corny, sure, but he's our guy, so who cares?
Pride of Cobb, Wisconsin, cone roller. I think I'm coming around on rap. I think the dude's got it. And 2 months ago, I wouldn't have believed that for a second.
I was just gonna say I owe him an apology. I mean, I thought he was just worthless, like soft, only shot threes for being a big guy. And as long as he's making them, sure, go ahead, let it shoot. I mean, he had just a huge one last night. This team not saying anything going into March. I think it really is all just going to depend on how well they shoot.
Yeah.
The one thing though, the last couple games, it's been nice to see John Blackwell, start off slow, but he's still a dog. You can't keep a dog down for too long.
This is true. And last night, Boyd started slow and got it going. I think another thing, Cone, anything else before I let you go?
Nope, got nothing. Tough night for the guard haters, though. That's
really?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sorry that I had mentioned that. That's Cone Roller. Really tough day for the Fire Guard crowd. One thing I'll mention about the shooting, and then we're going to take another call or two, because why not? We can push this break back. They made I was looking at the box score and some of the stats between the Illinois win and the Michigan win. I'm like, okay, so what's connecting these two things? The 3-point shooting is naturally a part of it. They made 15 against Michigan. They made 16 last night. And I don't know if 1 or 2 of those was in overtime, so you maybe inflate that number a little bit because you have the extra 5 minutes. Another thing that jumped out to me last night, and this was not as true in Michigan. They had 10 turnovers at Michigan. They had 4 last night, and that's it. They played an exceptionally clean game. And let's say if Wisconsin had made 14 or 13 threes instead, I'd like to think they still would have had a chance. Who knows how the game shakes out? Just playing cleaner basketball, not wasting a possession here, a possession there. Those are the things the Badgers are going to have to do if they get into the, more big games or into the tournament. It's like, okay, we're getting by on the 3-point line, but we're not lighting it up. How can you pick up a couple of extra points or get a couple of extra stops? Limiting the turnovers the way they did last night. They played clean in a tough environment too. That was really impressive. And I think that maybe deserved that. That caught my eye even more than the 3-point shooting. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this? Hello? Line number 1. All right. Call me back on the other side of this break. Line 2, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this? Hello? Yes.
All right. BVT here. So I think it's a great testament to Greg Gard's job building this roster and this program where Brad Underwood only felt comfortable playing 7 guys. I know there were injuries, but he only felt going 7 deep because he couldn't keep up with this roster. I think that's impressive. Second thought, Austin Rapp, do you know his inflection point on when that turned this season, Grant? Do you know the inflection point?
Was it post-injury or post-illness, or when exactly did he have his moment?
It was mostly when we were at Penn State. We put enough points on him and allowed Greg Gard to let him kind of run free in that second half. And that kind of, I think, got him more comfortable in this system. I think it was post-injury, though. So You're right. And my last point here, do you know the one person who loved this Badger win more than anybody in the world?
This Badgers win more than anyone in the world?
Yep. Looking forward.
Looking forward? Hit me.
Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans.
Yeah.
Getting to just inflate their team with like, this team is an elite talent. I think Tom Izzo loved that. He gets to just put that on the film room this whole week. But that's all I got.
Excellent.
That's it, man. I'll let you go.
Yeah, Badger Vibe Track. No, I appreciate it. Sorry that I'm doing a poor job hosting here. No, Michigan on Friday or Michigan State on Friday makes perfect sense. And I have the schedule in front of me. I think it's a great take. And let's be real. Like Tom Izzo needs a reason to hype up Greg Gard and the Badgers. They'll do their bromance thing at the Kohl's Center on Friday night. If I wasn't leaving town, I would try to go to that game. God, I thought for whatever reason they were at the Breslin Center later this season. I know they were home Friday. I kind of want to go to that game. But you're absolutely right. I would be thrilled. I'd be thrilled if I was a Michigan State fan. That's a great point. Badger Vibes Tracker. Thank you for the call. And I remember that Penn State game too. They ended that game with like a 5 or 6 minute run in the first half and just let Rap get out there. That's a great point too. Just let you host a segment of the show, Badger Vibe Tracker. Glad I got to you before this break. We're going to take a break, come back. Little audio from Greg Gard, any remaining Badgers basketball thoughts, and then I want to talk some Brewers as well as pitchers and catchers report today.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Could you just elaborate a little bit on the challenges of defending on the perimeter with Kylan and Andre both out, obviously?
Do you need me to elaborate, or can you read a stat sheet and watch the film?
I'd like to hear your comment too. So,
it's like I said, we had guys playing out of position and doing things that we don't normally do. I thought we had some good moments, but you look at athletically, you got your two best athletes. One who's a problem solver of all sorts, and Kylan, and Dre's 6'6", 6'7", and long and athletic, and coming off a game where he has 17 and 8 or whatever he had at Michigan State, and defensively, both of those guys are good rebounders, and so it's just a matter of some guys out of character doing some different things. You're not. One's a senior, one's a junior as well, and they're both physically very strong.
A little bit more for Brad Underwood. Sometimes it's more interesting to hear from the opposing coach, especially when they're asked to talk about Boyd and Blackwell. And I noticed one thing there. I have to scratch this itch. I just have to pick at this. You notice at the end, Brad Underwood pointing out, well, one's a junior, one's a senior. They're pretty experienced. And I remember last year when the Badgers beat him at the Kohl Center, and Illinois was without a bunch of guys. There was an illness going around the team. I think they traveled with a really light squad, and I was at the Brad Underwood presser, and one thing that he mentioned multiple times, especially about Tanjay, who I think had 30, he said he's old. They're experienced. Like Brad Underwood, I do like him, but he's not. He is not above pointing out, well, the other team's much more older and experienced than us,
and long and athletic, and coming off a game where he has 17 and 8 or whatever he had at Michigan State, and defensively, both of those guys are good rebounders, and so it's just a matter of some guys out of character doing some different things. You're not. One's a senior, one's a junior as well.
There it is.
Physically very strong.
And remember, one's a senior, one's a junior, guys. I like Brad Underwood, but I just got to pick at that stuff, including the complaint that they were clapping on the bench. Give me a break. And I would say the same thing about the Packers, whining about Austin Booker. And I've been talking about that for 3 or 4 weeks now. It's the same thing. It annoys me when it's my team, and it annoys me when it's the other team. I think we're underrating the season that Nick Boyd is having, or at least I am. And I got to be better. We'll talk about this with Jesse Temple next hour. I saw this tweet from Zach last night, and I'm like, oh, really? I guess I haven't fully appreciated the season that Nick Boyd is giving him. The most 20-point games by a Wisconsin player since the year 2000, okay? So Orlando Tucker has the most in 2006, 2007. He had 19. Kaminsky had 17 in 14-15. Johnny Davis, naturally, had 16 in 21-22. Orlando Tucker in his previous season, 2005-2006, had 15. Jordan Taylor had 15. Tanjay had 15 last year. Nick Boyd has 15 already, and it's February 11th. So if he has just a handful more, like he's going to he's going to match Frank Kaminsky. Their scoring is different now. They're scoring more. They're shooting more. But it's not like Nick Boyd is Johnny Davis. That team was Johnny Davis-centric. And while they had other good players in 14-15, they had lots of great players on that Final Four team, but Kaminsky was the guy. Boyd is 1A, 1B with Blackwell. What he's doing is really impressive. Here's Greg Gard talking about Nick Boyd and whether or not they're, coming to in bigger spots, bigger moments as the season is continuing.
Yeah, he's a winner. and he's won everywhere he's been, and that's why he wanted to come to Wisconsin because Coach, I've been to a Final Four and I want to get to another one. And he's as competitive of individual that I've been around in a while. In terms of obviously vocally, he wears his heart on his sleeve. That's obvious. He was trying to get anybody dressed in red to stand up and cheer for us tonight, and he's always like that. That's his personality. That's how he is in practice. He's vocal. He's a hard charger. He's ferociously competitive. And he ultimately he's about winning, and that's what you want with all of your players. But when your point guard has that mentality, that no fear mentality, and nothing can be, and sometimes he drove to the basket with no fear, and I'm like, Nick, there's 7-1 standing there. Of course they're going to block it, but that's his mentality. He's going to keep coming back at you. He's not going to flinch and keep coming. And obviously he was able to make big plays down the stretch tonight.
And that did make me laugh because Boyd had a drive towards the end of regulation. I can't remember if they were up 5 or they were up 3, where it's like, dude, you didn't need to. I don't want them to just stand around and burn clock. That drives me nuts at the end of games. Like, I don't just want to burn. Like, I want an honest to goodness effort to score, but Boyd drove and there was like 15 to 20 seconds left, and it's like it wasn't a clear path. Like, so I appreciated that comment from Guard. That part one more
and
time.
Sometimes he drove to the basket with no fear, and I'm like, Nick, there's 7-1 standing there. Of course they're going to block it, but that's
of course they're going to block it.
Of course they're going to block it.
Of course they're going to block it. Bobby and Menominee still don't think the Badger Bigs are good enough. Again, back to Nolan Winter. I've been really impressed with his physicality. I think that part of his season's been underrated. Been really impressed. Hard nose. He'll mix it up. He'll get in there in a way that I really wouldn't have thought. The part of his game that's left me wanting is actually the skill. I wish we would see the shooting be a little bit better. That's the thing that I thought would always be there. My question would, is he going to beef up and is he going to play, physical around the rim? I think he's applied himself tremendously in that arena. The skill, as a young NBA prospect, a guy with NBA potential and skills, that part hasn't been there. And I think that will if they're going to win tournament games, I think they're going to need Nolan Winter to contribute a little bit offensively. They don't need to score, they don't need 25, but it is going to be hard. Even if he's doing a great job on the boards, heady plays, high IQ plays in crunch time, like if he's only scoring 4, that's going to make it tough. Now, if Rapp gives you almost 20, great. Okay. As long as the scoring's coming from somewhere, but I think to win, postseason games and advance in the tournament, I'm with you. Like, I think Nolan Winter probably needs to do a little bit more, but that has nothing to do for me with his physicality. Jim in Cottage Grove, you should see if you could get an interview with Brad Davison. I would like to hear his take on how the year is going. I don't think we've heard from him, have we? Well, not on this show. It's not like I had him and you missed him, Jim. I suppose I could ask. I would tell you to listen to the Camp in the Swing because Zach and Jesse get a lot of interviews with coaches and players. They do a really good job. Let's come back. I want to talk about the Brewers for a couple of minutes before we get to 5 o'clock. Some things that have jumped out to me. Some things have been bothering me in the baseball arena as pitchers and catchers reported today. So I'll give you a couple Brewers thoughts next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
The Brewers have this endless supply of guys like Caleb Durbin, who aren't really prospects, but they throw in there, use properly, and the next thing you know, they're contributing to a winning team. But they really aren't all that good. And that is what I would say Caleb Durbin is. He doesn't hit for power, although he got 11 home runs. He's like all Brewers, most Brewers, he doesn't strike out, which is refreshing. He's 5'7", not 5. I don't know we got 5'8". I see 5'7". Okay.
Teeny little guy.
He's 5'7". He doesn't hit for power. He doesn't hit the ball all that hard. He does steal bases, but because in Milwaukee, what they do is they just put their bat on the ball and run like little rabbits, whether you're fast or not. He got caught stealing a bunch of times, but he ran because they all just put their bat on the ball and run because they kind of suck. And that's really the only way to bridge the gap between talented teams. Put your bat on the ball and run like the Dickens.
He's a try-hard.
He is a little try-hard dude who was never considered a top prospect, was never a top prospect, made the club last year. I don't know. Did someone get hurt in April? I don't know. He came up in April. I can't remember because I never heard of the dude, and why would I have? Just a representative rookie year on a small market National League team that was really good. I love the Brewers, make no mistake, and I loved his contributions. He was another little try-hard, overachieving Brewer. He'll be in Worcester come Memorial Day. That's my prediction. And this Kyle Harrison is going to win 12 games for us.
Oh, the lefty, yeah.
Yeah, and be a good pitcher for us because this is what we do. Didn't we just steal Quinn Priester from you?
Yes, yeah, right.
That's some good sound from Mike Felger. I cut that from last night's show. He was with us at the Super Bowl last week, but I saw some clips on Twitter. They were talking about, naturally from the Red Sox side, the Caleb Durbin trade. And I just thought that audio was interesting. And I want to make it clear, I bitched about the Caleb Durbin trade a lot last night. And it's not because I think Caleb Durbin is some star. I genuinely have questions about who's playing third base. But I guess if I don't think Caleb Durbin is that good, it shouldn't be that hard to replicate his production. I mean, he wasn't even a good defensive third baseman. We learned from Pat Murphy, straight from the skipper's mouth today at spring training. I'll read you a couple tweets from Todd Rosiak. As of now, Pat Murphy doesn't see Joey Ortiz entering the equation at third base. Quote, I just feel when a guy's your shortstop for the entire year, when he comes back into camp, he's probably your shortstop, but things happen. We also know he can play third. He can play second. That actually, when I started reading that, I expected that to be a more definitive quote. I mean, it's hard to argue with the logic. Well, he was our shortstop all of last year, and now he's here again, so he's probably our shortstop, but who knows? That's basically all that was. More from Pat Murphy, more from Todd Rosiak. Quote, coming back, Bryce is prepared to be our second baseman, Ortiz is prepared to be our shortstop, and third base situation comes down to a handful of guys right now. So we would probably think Hamilton, I guess Jet Williams. I don't know, maybe he can play third. I think I need to zoom out and get off of the idea of who's going to play third. Somebody's going to play third. I mean, Jesus. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Caleb Durbin did it last year. How hard could it be? Here's 60 seconds of Dom Catronio from last night's show, those who missed it. I think perfectly describing why the Brewers wanted to do this trade. It's because they prioritize, they want as much ammo as possible, and the most valuable ammo right now in baseball is young, controllable pitching.
The Brewers felt like they got the most out of they could out of Caleb Durbin. And it sounds so blunt to say that, but the truth is this is a heat check. Like, this is the most raised thing the Brewers have done under Matt Arnold. Now, I will say that this league is run by young, controllable pitching, just like the NFL is run by the teams that have their quarterback on a rookie deal or a team-friendly deal. Look at Sam Darnold versus Drake May this week, right? So the way I see it is the Brewers have the most valuable currency in baseball if they do want to make a trade in the interim for third base with young, controllable pitching. But furthermore, they do have internal candidates on this roster now and in the future to play third base. So in the eyes of the Brewers, I was talking about this with a friend earlier today, the Brewers probably didn't get better this offseason, which, is sort of disappointing after 97 wins, but it's really hard to improve on 97 wins. But I challenge the thought of, what do you think? I don't think the Brewers got worse. I really don't think that.
So that's a good point. I don't think they got worse. And I didn't really expect them in this offseason to make a huge play to get better. Like, I didn't. I think a lot of their improvements, the way they're building this thing, a lot of those improvements are just expected internally. Jackson Churio kind of continues to mature and grow, balances, his penchant for expanding the strike zone and swinging and being a trigger happy player, which they need more of in the lineup, but also balancing that with the idea, like, occasionally you should probably take a walk. And being healthy. He wasn't healthy down the stretch last year. And had he been healthy last year down the stretch, we probably look at his season statistically very different. It looks like a better year. It looks like a more well-rounded, dominant year. William Contreras now with a healthier finger. Bryce Terang a year better. Like, I think there's real pop and potential there. Like, you can look at those spots and say, well, why would we go out and try to, we have our young superstar. We have another great player at second. Like, I understand that. Internal improvements. I don't think Freddie Peralta departing, again, I've said it a bunch, like, they didn't trade Jacob deGrom. They traded Freddie Peralta, who's a fine player. We could talk more about this after the top of the hour in Zach's update. I have some audio from Effectively Wild. Kurt Hogue was doing an appearance with them, and I got triggered listening. Not by anything Kurt said. I thought Kurt was the best part. Let's take a call here first. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Evening, Grant.
Tim from Sparta. Hey, what's up?
Well, I wanted to call in earlier and say that the interview that you had last Friday on your show with the
Felger,
that was a tremendous interview.
He's a riot. He's fun.
He was really good. I wouldn't mind you having him on a more regular basis when football season gets there. His insights, I thought, were he feels the same way about it than basically I did. So,
it's the details. It's the details with the Packers, Tim. We got about 45 seconds, so continue your take. I don't want to talk over you.
And then the other thing is, just with the Brewers, I was sad to see Freddie go. I didn't think that they got enough for him. Starting pitcher, $8 million. Come on, guys. I think you could have got a little bit better of a deal. And I agree with the last bit of tape there. I don't think that the Brewers got all that much worse with what they've done. Third base, yeah, sucks unless they get really, really lucky. But I think they're going to be as good this year as last year.
I think so, Tim. Excellent call. We'll talk more at a different time. Sorry, we're up against it here. I don't think they got worse. Replacing Caleb Durbin, I don't think it's a difficult task, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion they can just throw anyone there. We'll talk more about this next. Quick update from Zach.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Badgers got back in the win column last night in impressive fashion. Days after a controversial ending in Indiana cost them a win, Wisconsin went on the road again, and this time beat number 8 Illinois in overtime, like they have so many times this year. 5 times in the last 7 wins, actually. They came roaring back after being down double digits. John Blackwell says that's just who they are.
We just keep chipping away at the lead. There's no 10-point shot, no 8. Chipping away,
After such a disappointing loss at Indiana made it even more sweet.
We lost that, and we made us more hungry. I think in practice, we were so hungry in practice. We didn't hang our heads at all. We kept smiling and kept getting better. And then we came out here and got this stuff. I think we really wanted that one, and this was an even bigger one for us.
Wisconsin now 17-7 on the year, 9-4 in Big Ten play. They'll welcome in number 10 Michigan State to the Kohl Center on Friday night. Turning to the Bucks, they are in Orlando. It's really going to face off against the Magic again tonight. Milwaukee dropped the first game against the Magic on Monday. Tip tonight set for 6.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up, and support starts with all of us, at home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Well, the Packers reportedly have their new quarterbacks coach, and it's a familiar name. The NFL Network reported that Luke Getsy will take over for Sean Mannion. Getsy was the QB coach from 2019 to 2021 before becoming the Bears offensive coordinator and then eventually the Raiders OC. He had been a consultant with the Packers last year. And Wisconsin could have 2 players at the NFL Combine in Vinny Anthony and Mason Reiger. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Okay, he missed it. 5.7. Wagler, he's been the superstar. Wagler for the win. Wisconsin has won in Champaign for the first time in 7 years.
This league is not for the faint of heart. Again, as I told Brad after the game, I mean, he's got a heck of a team, which I knew coming in, and we're growing into a heck of a team too.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Badgers audio in the intro. That's from last night. I would like to stick with the Brewers. Certainly don't have to. We always do a little bit of a reset as we begin the second hour. This is the Wisco Sports Show presented tonight by La Crosse Beer House. I'm going to be in La Crosse this weekend. And gosh, if you couldn't tell by some of our conversations last night, I am excited. Get down on the corner of 3rd and Pearl, get a big mug of beer, maybe a brat or a pretzel. You could sit down and have a meal. Their fish fry is outstanding, but maybe you just want a little pack of protein to sustain you as you're kicking around, enjoying beers, especially folks. Have you seen the weather coming up this weekend? You're telling me you don't want to go out and have some day beers on Saturday? Why would you go anywhere else than 3rd Street? Start at La Crosse Beer House, get a brat, get a pretzel. Again, you don't need to get a big meal. Just get a little protein, like an MRE, something to sustain your long day of kicking around and enjoying the sun and being outside and drinking. If I sound excited, it's because I am. I'm shaking. Put it this way. If drinking beer is so bad for me, then why do my hands always stop shaking when I have some? I don't get it. Anyways, La Crosse Beer House, corner of 3rd and Pearl, presenting the show tonight. They will present, by extension, Jesse Temple, who will join us in a half hour. Badger Connect in the camp. We'll talk Badger hoops with him. Again, I have more things to say on the Brewers, but if you want to mix in a Badgers basketball thought from last night, you're more than welcome to. Let's take a call. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Yeah, you got Darnell.
Darnell, I figured this might be you. What's going on, you son of a gun?
Hey, you know what? Just an absolute hell of a win last night, and probably made the tournament with that win. Honestly.
I think so. That's what the experts are saying. Those
right.
2 road wins get you in as long as you don't blow the rest of the season straight to hell.
Exactly. Still got to win the games you're supposed to win, but yeah, I think that pretty much does it for you. I will say, I need them to stop falling behind by 14 in every game. They need to stop doing that. Like that is not a sustainable March winning successful formula there. So. As exciting as these games are, and like it's great to see them, coming together down the stretch, which is something that they weren't doing at the beginning of the year, and we were actually kind of ragging on them for it, kind of giving up in what felt like blowout losses, right? But they're actually coming back now. It's just that they need to not fall into such deep holes to start games. Yeah. It's becoming a little bit of a recurring theme, and as great as it is to see them win those games, I don't think that they can do that in the NCAA tournament.
Well, you shrink your margins, right? And last night, luckily their margins, they performed so well on the margin. They only had 4 turnovers. So they had little room for error, and they committed very few errors. But you're right. I don't know why they're falling behind, because Darnell, I don't notice anything in any of these games where I'm like, and they're doing it again. Maybe long stretches where they're not scoring. Like maybe it's as simple as that, right? Like the Badgers even really going back 4 or 5 years, they'd have these spells where they just, they'd go quiet for 3 or 4 minutes. So maybe that's the extent of it. Maybe that's why they're falling behind. But other than that, it's not like I'm noticing any really bad or scary trends when it happens.
I think that when they get in droughts, it's because they have completely fallen in love with 3.
Okay.
And they will not take a paint shot for like 7 or 8 possessions. And then I'm like, okay, you need to touch the paint and get a kick out or something, but they'll fall back into maybe some like bad basketball habits where you just kind of pass it around the arc, and then the first person that's open takes a shot. You know what I mean? Like it's not good offense. You can get bailed out by hitting a couple of those shots, but it's not good offense. So if you're not going in and out and hitting the blocks and then getting it back out, like, yeah, you need to keep the offense moving, even if you're hitting some threes. Otherwise, they'll stop dropping, and you start looking like they did for 4 or 5 minutes at a time, and then all of a sudden your 2-point deficit is a 13-point deficit, and it's like, how do we even get here?
Well,
so as great as everything is, it's like I still need to see a little bit more if we want to do March and have fun in March. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm just rejecting? And Darnell, if you haven't been listening to every moment of the show since 4:00, you would have missed me. I said this in the first segment. You know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to come in here into this microphone the day after wins like that and say, and it's wins like that give me reason to think they could do something special in March. Like, we don't know. I think that's such a big waste of time. It doesn't make me less confident. Don't get me wrong. I don't feel worse about their tournament chances. I think it's so silly in February to be like, and that's why you got to take them seriously. Because how many times have we said that? Hey, they have Johnny Davis. You got to take them seriously. They got Blackwell and Boyd. You got to take them seriously. Like, I don't know. They got Tanjay. You got to take them seriously. It's just a big crapshoot.
It really is. I mean, as a Wisconsin sports fan
and an alum,
if you go into March saying, we're going to make the Final Four, we're going to be in the Elite Eight, we're going to be playing on second weekend for sure, you're going to have your hopes dashed. Unless it's a super team like the Kaminsky teams. Like that was different. That was a different level of Badger basketball, and acting like we've gotten back to that in any way, shape, or form is just not true. So, I always go into March with like cautious optimism. Like, yeah, this could be fun, but I haven't seen even close to enough this year to start saying, oh yeah, we really got a shot. They're a fun team. They are a fun team, and they have obviously learned how to play together.
Yeah.
Over the course of the last month, they're playing much improved basketball. It's just that, there are still stretches of 5 to 7 minutes where I'm like, what am I watching here? You know what I mean? And
sure.
you need to see less of that as you head towards the tournament. Now, I'm not saying they're not trending in a great direction, but you just need to cut down on the crap and keep more of the good vibes going. I don't know. I wouldn't be a very good basketball coach, I don't think. Because that's all I'd be able to say.
Darnell, you got your arms around this thing. I appreciate the call. I was hoping you'd call and talk Badgers hoops tonight. Jesus, that guy's a little bit of a wet blanket, huh? I mean, come on. Big road win. I haven't seen enough. I think the deficits are as simple as they're a team that relies on three-point shooting. And when you have a cold stretch, things can shut off. I think what's important for this team is mixing in other shots when threes aren't going. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. Be willing to take a mid-range jumper, be willing to go to the rack, be willing to get to the free throw line. Got to be willing to do those things. And it's easy to say, well, just keep shooting. If the shots are good, keep shooting. They'll fall. Not always. Not always. And I don't like staking in a basketball game, especially a tournament game, on a calculator. Well, we've missed 10. They're bound to go down. Maybe not. Because these are human beings. You can't this. We're not playing two spreadsheets against each other, human beings. So at a certain point, you do need to mix in other shots and other things. And when the threes aren't falling, the defense can't lapse and you can't have turnovers. You can't have missed threes and turnovers because now you're just drawing dead, and probably worse than drawing dead on offense because you're giving them missed threes that are probably giving them rebounds, maybe with pace to turn the other way, or live ball turnovers, which definitely give them pace to go the other way. They only turned the ball over 4 times last night, and I think that's a big reason why you're able to come back on the road. If you're having cold stretches offensively, you're behind 12, and you're turning the ball over, I think you're cooked. I think you're done. I think that's that. but you limit the turnovers. You mix in some shots that aren't threes, and then the three-point shooting comes around. Rapp hits a bomb late. Blackwell hits a bomb late. It's like, okay, well, now you can kind of win most games. So, and just to circle back to the very beginning of the show, just to put a cap on the discussion of last night's game, because I do want to get back to the Brewers. Brad Underwood complaining about the refs. I get it, because Big Ten refs can be spotty. Coaches have to do that. I don't hold that against him for a second. They're going to send in some film. Greg Gard basically said the same thing after the Indiana game on Saturday. I get it. This is what annoyed me when he was asked about Keaton Wagler, who was outstanding last night, the freshman.
Brad, what more can you ask for Keaton right now? I mean, he feels like he's carrying like such a huge load for you offensively.
Nothing. Yeah. Help. He needs help. He needs, I mean, they got picked up 94 feet and they denied him. And, not that bothers him, but it's remarkable, quite remarkable what he's been doing and the load he's done. I didn't realize he had 34. I mean, it was it was as quiet at 34 as there was, and he's getting beat on. Their bench stands up and claps, when they commit a hard foul on him in the first half. I looked at the official and I said, they're down clapping. He goes, well, that's not very classy. I said, not really, but Greg's a good friend, but that's what teams are trying to do to him, is just be physical. And
that's the part that makes me roll my eyes. I love Brad Underwood. He's a personality. And thank God some of these basketball teams still have personalities. I know Coach K's gone. Calipari feels more irrelevant in Arkansas. Maybe that's unfair. It just felt like he was a bigger deal at Kentucky. We've lost him. We still have Izzo. We still have Underwood. We lost Beeline, who's one of my favorite coaches ever. I still can't believe how horrible that Cavs tenure went, but Beeline was just outstanding. Matt Painter, I guess, but he's kind of a boob visually, aesthetically. Gard probably doesn't move the needle much. I like him. I think he has aura in our little world, but I don't know that he's transcending, to other fan bases or to other sets of eyes. I like Brad Underwood. This comment is so whiny. Well, they were following him hard. Well, he's a freshman, so teams are going to do that. But did you see they stood up and they clapped on the bench after committing a hard foul?
I looked at the official and I said, they're down clapping. He goes, well, that's not very classy. I said, not really, but Greg's a good friend, but that's what teams are trying to do to him. That's
not very classy. Are you kidding me? Wah. And I get the complaint about the refs, the Big Ten refs. I get this stuff.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know. I'm done talking to people. I don't get called. I'm done. I'm frustrated as heck.
I'm frustrated as heck.
I'm very frustrated.
I'm mad as hell, and I just can't take it anymore. I'm frustrated as heck.
I don't get called. I'm done. I'm frustrated as heck. I'm very frustrated, and because it changes so much from game to game. We had a guy tonight we haven't had in 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. Do a league game. In 2 years.
Sorry, Brad. Again, the complaining about the refs I get. The complaining that they fouled your freshman hard and then clap. Bro, you got to try to bring the energy on the road. You should know this, Brad. Text from Rock and Rick on the idea that you should go to 3rd Street, specifically Lacrosse Beer House, who presents the show tonight. Rock and Rick says, Yingling is in town. Rock and Rick, I bet it is. And I have no strong opinion on Yingling. May I just say, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think we need it. I think we have so many great beers brewed in Wisconsin. I don't need the East Coaster beer. That can be for them out there. Just like I don't need Rainier. I mean, I drink it, but I don't feel like we're missing something in the Midwest by not having Rainier. I can get that. I can pop Gold Tops when I go that way. When I cross over really around Jamestown, I feel like is where they start selling it, North Dakota. I'll get it out there. That can be their thing. We have our things, which is all of the best beers, and Yingling can be for the Ben Kennys and the Cake Eaters in Philly. I'm not combining Cake Eater and Ben Kenny, but do it that way you will. I don't need Yingling here. I would you know what I would prefer? I would trade a Yingling. I would trade that for having Liney's Light available at every bar in Wisconsin, not just the good ones up north and towards the Chippewa Valley or towards Milwaukee. I want it everywhere. We were in San Francisco last week. I think I mentioned this on the show last week, but we went to a place in Sausalito And we sat down. We're having lunch. I was hungry. And I got oysters and a Bloody Mary. And I was maybe going to get one more drink. And what really sounded good was like a Corona, or, I mean, preferably a Modelo, but I'll settle for Corona. Or what's the other one? Oberon. No, there's another one that's kind of like in that vein, whatever. I asked the waitress, I was like, do you have Corona, Modelo? Modelo is like one of the highest selling beers in the country, always. You never know it, but like very popular beer. It's not like I asked for a canoe paddler here. Like I feel like I'm throwing a strike down the middle for this waitress. Like, what do you got? And she goes, oh, actually, we only serve local beers from local breweries. We find it very important to serve local beer. And I don't know if I had just buried a pretty strong Bloody Mary. I don't know why I said this. I don't know what moved me to say this to this nice girl. I said, I don't know why I said this. I wasn't trying to be a dick, but I had to come across like a major a-hole. Look, I said, I think it's great. And I think supporting local beer is really important too. I think it's great that you guys are doing that. I will have a gin and tonic because I don't want your Redwoods Brewing. I'm sure it's great. Sometimes I want an old reliable, and there's dozens of beers that would apply. I'm not picky. All that to say is I don't know that we need a Yingling. Matt on the live stream says, wow, Grant's a beer snob. Matt, I don't know how you possibly could have listened to the last 2 minutes of the show and drawn that conclusion. No, not a beer snob at all. We have so many good beers in Wisconsin. My favorite beer is Miller Lite. Light beer from Miller. The original light beer. Brewed right here. Or it might not be, but spiritually, that's our beer. I'm not a beer snob at all. Pabst, High Life, Miller, Light, Liney's Light, Liney's Heavy if they got it. Sure, one of the two. They're great. That's not snobby. It's not snobby at all. Let's talk more Brewers when we come back, and then we'll get you Jesse Temple at 5:30.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
There's never been a better time to experience Pella in person and get all your questions answered. Join us at the Neary Spring Home Improvement Show, February 13th through the 15th at Wisconsin State Fair Park. Book your in-home consultation at the show and receive a free Design Works rendering. Rest easy with Pella's 10-year limited warranty and get 0% interest for up to 48 months. Set your free in-home consultation at PellaWI.com.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
This is just what they do. And they look at Caleb Durbin and say,
expendable.
We've got like 5 guys like that in the minor leagues.
And now the Red Sox do too.
We've got 5 little dudes like this in AAA that we could call up at any point and plug in and tell them to put the bat on the ball and run like a little go-getter, and we'll be just fine. And if you want to give us a left-handed pitching prospect for that, have at it. Go have fun with the little fella. And he's going to be in Worcester by Memorial Day is my prediction.
So the other thing that I did mention about this trade, Durbin and Matt Harrison were part of a 6-player trade. 6 players.
A blockbuster.
Between the Red Sox and the Milwaukee Brewers. And I would challenge 99% of fans to mention any of the 6.
So these are
I just gave you 2 names.
These are 2 small market nerd teams finger banging each other.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. This is exactly what that was.
Playing with themselves.
Yeah, let's pull our pants down. And
that's what you've become. You're just one of these mid-market nerd teams playing with yourself with other mid-market nerd teams.
Correct.
Over guys like Caleb Durbin and Kyle. What's his name? Kyle Harrison?
Kyle Harrison.
Whatever.
Let me trade my Durbin for your Harrison.
And throw in a couple more. The B-class draft pick that the Brewers gave you? What the hell is that? It's so sad what you've become.
Oh my gosh, please. Biggest nothing trade ever.
That's some more sound. I just thought it was entertaining sound, so I cut it. Gets us back into our Brewers conversation. Caleb Durbin traded to the Red Sox, and that's the Boston perspective. It's like, this is what we've become. We're the team that messes around with trading Caleb Durbins and Kyle Harrisons and Andrew Monasterios. Like, okay. I got very frustrated this afternoon. I got to share one more Brewers thing with you, and I'll get back to taking your phone calls here. If you can give me 2 or 3 minutes, I promise I'll get to you. But I do want to share one Brewers thing. I was very excited today because contributor to the show, Kurt Hogue, did a Fangraphs podcast, Effectively Wild, which he does every year. They do their season preview podcast. I was very excited to listen. Kurt goes on representing us, talking about our team. They just almost set a franchise record for wins, 97. They made it to the NLCS, lost to the Dodgers. And I was very excited. What kind of things were they going to ask Kurt? I'm so excited to hear his answers. And I was very frustrated by the types of. First of all, is the 2 hosts just went on and on and on and on. It's like, ask Kurt the questions. I want to hear Kurt. That's why I tuned in, and that's why you had him on. By the way, I never want to hear hosts. If a host is using a conversation with a guest or a spot with a guest just to show off what they know, then do your own thing. Then host your show. You don't need a guest. Go ahead. I do 2 hours every night, mostly without guests. It's not that hard. I don't need to bring on guests to prove, unless it's Zach Heilprin, to prove how smart I am. Listen to this clever thing just ask the guest questions. That's why they're on. So what I did was I created just a little bit of a mix down here. It's about 1 minute and 20 seconds of things that just annoyed me, questions or framing that bothered me. You'll hear it, and then we can react together.
They do have this persistent seeming issue of not being able to make their way through the gauntlet of October against clubs that have similar depth and maybe higher ceiling talent at more spots on the roster. So as they are thinking through not just like, how do we win the Central? How do we, maybe secure a bye in the National League, but how do we, finally sort of make it to and win the World Series?
Yeah, this offseason has been sort of more of the same. And while you have the Brewers taking bites at the apple, you have David Stearns going to the big apple. He bites at the big apple. He's handing out the big money. And the Brewers, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only non-minor league free agent they have signed this offseason is Akil Baddoo, who's on a split contract, I think.
I mean, let's face it, like, they're selling high on Freddie. His season, if you look under the hood, wasn't entirely different than some of his past years, but the results worked out great for him. So
yeah, I always wonder though. Everyone knows that though, right?
Yeah.
Like David Stearns
That's
is the
true,
guy
yeah.
trading for him, so he knows that too. So are you actually selling high, or is everyone kind of on the same page? I don't know, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I can't listen. This was an insufferable listen. First of all, listen to that part one more
So
time.
are you actually selling high, or is everyone kind of on the same page? I don't know.
So are you actually selling? Insufferable. I sat through a half hour of this podcast just because I wanted to hear Kurt, and I had to listen to these two NPR coded people. Well, the Brewers keep having this problem where, they can't make it all the way through the gauntlet and win a World Series. Okay, well, so the Brewers' problem is they haven't won a World Series. My God. Should we look into it? Are there any other teams maybe having this issue? Oh, stupid or listen. Well, okay, so they won 97 games, but really, let's talk about the problems this team is having. Like the problem they're having not winning a World Series. A problem that's clearly exclusive to them. What bothers me is that it's the Brewers' problem that no other teams can do what they're doing, which is just consistently win and be smart around the margins and acquire pitching and develop pitching. No, it's everyone else's problem because the Brewers, well, sure, the Brewers are winning almost 100 games, but like, at what point is the rest of the division going to catch up to this? I don't know, man. Like, do you just want me to sit here and wait? Should I just sit here and wait? I guess we'll just wait. Let's wait to see how long the Cardinals will take to catch up. The Reds, I'm sure this will be the year. Well, the Cubs will catch up. I don't know, man. We'll see. They're trying. They're certainly trying. God bless them. They're trying. Haven't been able to do it. And somehow this is being made into the Brewers issue. Well, Freddie Peralta just had a very good year. You're probably selling him at the highest
So
point.
are you actually selling high, or is everyone kind of on the same page? I don't know.
Are you actually selling high? Yeah, I'm sure David Stearns is acutely aware of all of this. Every move that he's made has been dynamite. And I love that bit of commentary in the middle. It's like, well, the Brewers, while they go for bites at the apple, David Stearns
this offseason has been sort of more of the same. And while you have the Brewers taking bites at the apple, you have David Stearns going to the big apple. He bites at the big apple.
Ask Kurt the questions, man. Put the fries in the bag. I got so annoyed listening to this podcast today. So are you really selling high? This is the voice that these two are using. This is two of you might understand what I'm about to say. The voice that these two are using is the same voice that the woman used who interviewed Sydney Sweeney about her genes. She's like, I just really want to give you an opportunity to maybe address some of the things that are being said, not by me, but just like by others. Like maybe you hate white people. Or maybe no, it was the other way. It's maybe that you think like your genes are superior. I know it was a jeans commercial, but I just want to give you a chance. Like, are you really going to?
So are you actually selling high, or is everyone kind of on the same page? I don't know.
Again, some of you will get that reference, very few. But if you do, you're like, wow, that's a great point. And it is. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy, what's going on? Thanks for listening.
Hey, not too much, man. Yeah, it's been a little bit. I had to decompress and observe some of this off-season stuff with the spring training with the Brewers and everything and the moves they're making. But yeah, so I had to take a little bit. But yeah, I got the reference there on that last little bit. That was a great bit. I like that.
It's the same voice. It's so condescending, but it's hidden.
Voice.
But it's hidden behind a smile and a frame. But like, but David Stearns knows this. Are you really selling high? It's like, first of all, I don't think a lot of general managers in baseball do know these things. I think there's a lot of stupid general managers in front offices. So to just assume that every other front office in the world looks at David Stearns and is like, or looks at Freddie Peralta and is like, but is he really like, no, I think there are a lot of people who it goes over their head. And that's why teams like the Rays and the Guardians and the Brewers are able to keep doing this thing.
Well, and to your point, it's like, we talked, well, I don't know if we talked about it, but I mean, I know you brought it up on your program last week and stuff where you were talking about the Brewers and you said, I'd love for the opportunity for any of these division rivals to surpass us. Go
Anytime.
ahead. They're making all these moves. Go ahead. The belt's right here around my waist. Come take it.
Just please.
But
it's the Brewers issue. The Brewers are questioning. It's like, well, don't you think the Cubs or the Reds are going to they're going to catch up to this eventually? It's like, why don't you ask Reds people this or Cubs people this? Why is it that you're letting the Brewers?
They might.
Why is it that you're letting the Brewers get away with this? Why are you still chasing the team that trades their ace, trades their closer, trades the ace? Why are you? Ask that to the other teams. That's not the Brewers' issue. That's not their problem.
Right, and meanwhile, we won how many games last season here, and we got Pat Murphy sitting at the podium going, "We're doing it with a bunch of nobodies."
Yes, correct.
So there you go. So, which brings me to my point. I mean, I kind of struggled with the Durbin thing. I mean, I get why they did it, and you played that clip earlier. Well, you know, he doesn't hit for power. He hit 11 home runs. Well, you know what? That's 4 more than Joey Ortiz hit. He hit 7 last year, and he's still got a roster spot. So, I mean, can somebody explain that to me? I don't know how that's happening, but whatever, you know. So I was high on Caleb Durbin. I really was. I figured if he was given enough time, he could be somebody. But I mean, okay, so we decided we didn't want to do that, and that's fine. But we kind of sold the farm on third base. So I'm with everybody else going, okay, so what's the plan? I don't know about this Hamilton, but I'm hearing a name that's been floated around lately.
Okay.
They say he might not be ready for a year, maybe 2, and I find it really interesting. And that's Jesus. His last name is Made. That's how it's
Made.
spelled. I don't know.
Jesus
Yeah,
Made.
Made. Is that okay? It is Made. The dude's ranked like number 3 in 2 different areas and number 4 in another area. So, like, I mean, he's a really high prospect, and he plays short, he plays second, and he plays third. And I'm like, man, like looking at his numbers, I mean, he's got okay, so it's minor league and he's only played for a couple of years, maybe 2, maybe 3, I don't know. But he's holding a career 285 hitting average. He hits for power. I don't know what his home run numbers are, but he's got a career OPS of 895.
Yep.
I mean,
So what's the
pretty
point?
good.
You feel good about him eventually one day taking over? Is that what you're thinking as you learn about this guy?
I mean, I'm looking at what are the Brewers doing, and that's what I mean. We have a good farm system. If we could develop hitters the way we do pitching, we would be way better than where we are right now. Like,
correct.
Our pitching farm system is probably one of the best in the league.
I think,
will go that far.
and it might just be that. Well, in part, Jeremy, it's a good call. It's because they're collecting all of these guys. I think my issue was this trade makes sense a year from now, because then Made or Wilkin or whoever would potentially be ready, but I don't think they're ready yet. What the Brewers are saying is we can get to next year with somebody else and also get a couple of young arms in the system. And if they're right, it's brilliant. I think it's a little bit of a heat check because they've cut the margins real thin at third base. And I'm not as high on their depth in the infield. I mean, there's just not much depth. So that's my concern. They've cut it a little close, but if it works, it's brilliant because they basically are no worse for wear. They don't bring in someone who blocks the youngsters who are coming up next year or the year after, and you get some arms out of the thing. So I think it's fine. We got to get to Jesse Temple. He's going to join us next to talk Badgers.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Jesse. Jesse. Hey, Jesse. 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 Jesse.
Jesse was down at the facility earlier today, talking with Badgers players with Greg Gard after last night's huge win. So you can expect that coverage at Badger Connect in the next couple of days. The latest episode of The Swing with Zach and Jesse already up. I consumed it this afternoon. It was outstanding. And obviously Badger Connect for the latest Badger Bites and all the stories. So you should subscribe. Lots of perks for subscribers, especially if you're a big fan of attending games, everything Wisconsin athletics. I recorded with Jesse around 3:30 this afternoon. So here's our conversation. Enjoy. Jesse Temple is here, Badger Connect, and you hear him on the camp with our friend Zach Heilprin, our sports director as well. Zach, I know you were in the Badgers locker room this afternoon. You were talking with some players and coaches after last night's huge win. The Badgers have stubbed their toe a couple of times. Indiana was rough. USC was rough. But after last night, winning in Illinois, winning at Michigan, I think this team has two of the more impressive road wins you could possibly get now in conference play.
Yeah, I don't know how you can say otherwise. Michigan was still rated number 1 in the NCAA net rankings, and Illinois was number 4. And now Wisconsin has got those 2 top 10 road wins and it continues to solidify that NCAA tournament resume. And that game was so critical for a variety of reasons. They're coming off that controversial loss at Indiana. They're in the midst of this really difficult 5-game stretch, have to play a talented top 10 Michigan State team that also just beat Illinois and East Lansing. And if they lose all those games, you're wondering about the NCAA tournament and whether it's going to happen. And now it's not if, it's where are they going to be? And they just showed so much to me, so much resilience and ability to come back from double digits with 8 minutes left on the road. This is why you have belief in this Wisconsin team when the NCAA tournament arrives.
And I'm looking for common threads between the Michigan and Illinois game. An easy place to start is how many threes they made. Last night, they made 16. Considering, they played overtime, so a little extra time. They made 15 against Michigan. Is there anything in these big wins other than made three-pointers that you've noticed and thought, okay, when they do this, or maybe when they don't do this, they're capable of going on the road and beating a team like Michigan or Illinois?
It's easy to say you make shots and you can beat anyone in the country, and that is absolutely true. But I also think it's worth acknowledging there's more to it than that. I think the collective mindset and the team not quitting, and I think Nick Boyd and John Blackwell are the prime examples. Their relentlessness says everything about what can make this team special. I mean, Nick at a certain point late in the second half had like 6 or 8 points and yet finished with 25.
Yep.
That's because he keeps driving to the basket. He keeps creating for himself, but in turn that creates for others, because you're going to consistently draw defenders. And in John Blackwell, while he's not as maybe outgoing vocally, is just as talented of a player. And so I think those are traits that matter. And when you look at Wisconsin's best teams over the years, even going back to the Bo Ryan era, that ability to not flinch in the face of adversity was why you felt like Wisconsin had a chance to win every game.
Do you think we're underrating the season that Nick Boyd is having? Or do you think fans
we're
are?
rating it.
Do you think fans are? Maybe a better question.
Maybe outside Wisconsin. I hope we're rating it appropriately, because the dude is currently averaging 20.2 points per game. And as we've said before, there has not been a Wisconsin player to average 20 plus in 30 years since Michael Finley. Some guys have come close, and I know it's an apples to oranges comparison, because Wisconsin's style of play is drastically different from what it used to be. But yeah, this is now the third straight year where Wisconsin has gone to the transfer portal and plucked the guy who has been a total difference maker and continues to show why Wisconsin is good at evaluating portal talent, or at least top end portal talent. So I hope we're not underrating what Nick has done, because he's been tremendous.
Yeah, he's got now 15 20-point games. Zach shared this last night. That ties him with Tanjay, with Jordan Taylor in 2011, with Alondo Tucker. He's 1 behind Johnny Davis, 2 behind Kaminsky, and Alondo Tucker's 2006-2007 season as well. So he's got 2 seasons in there. I know Wisconsin's scoring more now. I just saw that tweet, and I'm like, man, there's sometimes where Boyd makes it look so easy. And for whatever reason, he feels less like a one-man show sometimes than Tanjay did last year. So to the eye, it feels different. But I think Badgers fans, if you are underappreciating or underrating, we should try to lock in and maybe recognize just a little bit more. Jesse, they have not won in Illinois, I believe, in 7 years. I don't think they had one down in Champaign. Something that I was watching last night was Nolan Winter, because they always get pushed around, man. Like I go back to when they had to go up against Kofi Coburn. Nolan Winter only had 4 points last night, but 11 rebounds. And it just felt like he was physical and he was playing big in a way that sometimes Badgers fans don't always see from him.
Yeah, obviously he's made tremendous strides this year, and the staff felt really good about what his potential could be when they looked at a year ago. But 4 points doesn't stand out, but he gets the 11 rebounds, and he has that huge play late in the game where they get the timeout. Those things matter a lot. And I think on the whole, look how many double-doubles he's had. And over the years, we have seen Wisconsin's big struggle with the most physical big dudes in the Big Ten. But he went toe for toe, especially the Avicic brothers. They're not easy to defend. And I mean, we haven't even mentioned Illinois' top guard, who was a freshman and scored 34 points. But I just think, what a great, if you want to call it a third wheel, fine, but a top 3 trio there with Boyd and Blackwell and Winter. And if you've got a guy like Austin Rapp coming off the bench who's going to give you what he gave you, it's a tough team to stop.
Carrington, I think, flashed against Minnesota, and a lot of fans were like, oh, it's a nice little player, nice transfer. And I think ever since that game, he gives them a little something every night, whether it's defense or heady plays. I know he only had 8 points last night, but the only guy other than Rapp to play significant time and to score off the bench. Jesse Temple is here. You can find his work at Badger Connect and listen to him on the camp as well. I was watching your Badger Bite today with Mason Posa. I don't know what kind of career he's going to have at Wisconsin, and I don't know how many bowl games or how Wisconsin's going to finish. This dude seems to be a little different. No lack of confidence, and he does seem to be a larger-than-life player.
Yeah, I think that's why he's arguably the face of the program, despite, as of now, still being a freshman. He'll be a sophomore next season. But when you look at what he did as a freshman, it's truly remarkable. He did not come here early for spring practice because he had to go win a 4th consecutive state wrestling championship in New Mexico. So he doesn't get here till the summer, and then doesn't start until the 8th game of the year, along with Cooper Catalano against Oregon. What does he end up doing? Leading the team with 61 tackles, having massive plays, securing that upset victory against Washington, and being like 3rd team All Big Ten. So what can he do with a full offseason and with a year where he's going to be the starter? It does make me wonder what's possible. But yeah, we did do the Badger Bites this week with Mason Post. I had a chance to look at several of his highlights from last season that explain what led to his outstanding freshman campaign. And my last question for him, which I have on my social media channels, is look at what you did a year ago. What are your expectations for yourself? And he did not shy away from my expectations. He said, Wisconsin is LBU. They've never had a Butkus Award winner, which is nation's best linebacker at the college level. He said, I plan to be the first. Look, I'm not going to argue with him.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
No, I'm not going to tell that guy anything. No, I'm not. Yes, sir, you will. That's what my response would have been had I been in that room. So a really good Badger Bite. You could find that whole story and that whole video at Badger Connect. One more football thing, like a little housekeeping thing. So what happened with Fickell's contract? Because I remember 2 years ago when he got an extension, everyone's like, whoa, what's this? And Zach explained it to me. Well, they do that every year. It's a matter of course. So since then, I've kind of tuned out all the contract stuff because so much of it seems procedural. But did I read correctly that Luke Fickell asked his contract not to be extended by a year? Exactly what do we need to know about that? Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah, that's what Chris McIntosh said in the statement that he put out, and Chris obliged. And to me, this is a big old nothing burger because I don't know. Yes, it's going to be a story either way. If you renew him and he hasn't performed, you say, why are you renewing him? And if you don't, or extend him, if you will, because it's just sort of standard operating procedure, and they did do so with 3 other coaches. But then if you don't extend him, you say, oh, well, what does this mean? And can other teams use this to their advantage by saying Wisconsin doesn't believe in him?
Yeah.
I said this to Zach. I don't know what I'm going to have for breakfast tomorrow. I don't know what it's going to look like in 2030. And if Luke is still here, that means he's made it through 8 seasons. I think you got to get through this year. And if you have a good enough year, then either gets back on track or things will get rectified. But it's an off season. I won't even call it a distraction. But to me, it's just not that big of a deal because all that matters is this year. And if it doesn't go well, you're not going to be worrying about an extension in 2031.
Yeah. It's just odd the way that it was framed and presented as like it was Luke Fickell's wish that it be done this way. And I could understand UW. I could understand the school not wanting to do it, even if, to your point, it's a formality and it's not really anything other than that. It's just why was it presented, or why did it present that way with Luke Fickell kind of making the request, or that's how McIntosh presented it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my speculation would be that, assuming that's how it went, Luke said he didn't feel that he had earned the right to receive that extension, and this is obviously a make-or-break year 4, and it's a prove-it year. Like I said, if you don't perform well, this staff isn't going to be around for year 5. There's just no other way to sugarcoat it, given that you've gotten a reprieve to year 4, and you haven't been to a bowl game the last 2 years. So that's really, in my mind, what matters.
What else do we need to take away from the things that Chris McIntosh had to say? And I know you have a story up a couple of days ago at Badger Connect, but anything else from Chris McIntosh that we need to know and be aware of?
I don't think there's anything particularly groundbreaking. So I had a chance with a couple other reporters to talk to Chris on Monday for a general state of the football program. And obviously he's backed Luke from the beginning. I mean, he's the one who hired Luke.
Yeah.
They all feel like the talent level is a little bit higher based on what they were able to do from the portal. They felt like they executed their plan in spending more money, and that includes not only the revenue share, but above the cap spending. But look, talk is cheap at this point in time, and now you've got to go win games. And as Luke said last month, their job is to do a hell of a job of coaching these guys up to get them ready to perform.
I know we talked not about the Olympics specifically, but you had a story with some Badgers hockey players. You put the pads on, you played goalie. And then I was watching the hockey game the other day. It was the United States versus Canada. And I think 3 or 4 of the 5 goals had been scored by Badgers. So take us back to the story and the conversations you had with some of those players to kind of reset. Because I know we had those conversations, but now that the Olympics are going on, if folks missed that content and those conversations, can you loop us back around to that?
Well, first of all, no surprise that Wisconsin Badgers are dominating on the ice at the Olympics. They've got the best players not only in the country, but in the world. And Wisconsin's women's team has 4 players on the current roster that are part of that. And one of the Badgers bites we did a couple weeks ago was me doing something foolish, which I tend to do for these videos in the interest of creating content. I suited up as a goaltender, tried to stop a puck from Kirsten Sims with help from Ava McNaughton, who is the goaltender, and both of those players are on the Olympic team. It was a disaster, as you might imagine. It gave me a great appreciation for what is required to put on the astronaut gear, it feels like, as a goaltender. And obviously, they're playing really well. We also had another interview run on Badger Connect last week with Carolyn Harvey, who's one of the best defenders in the world, and another current Badger. And obviously, they have some former Badgers, including Hillary Knight. Team. So they got to keep it going, and I'm sure they will.
We look forward to following and watching it. I know your stories and some of those videos have been a great primer for folks as we now settle in to watch the Olympics. What else? Anything else coming at Badger Connect before we talk next week that we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, there's a lot of stories on the way. I have a story running Friday on Jarrell Moore, who is Howard Moore's son. Yep. Obviously, the Moore family went through an unimaginable tragedy. The documentary that John Roachman is going to be running in Marcus Point theaters here across Madison for the next week or so. There's a premiere Thursday night, and then Friday there's multiple showings with proceeds going to benefit Howard Moore and the family. And I just think that obviously if people want to support it, they ought to. But Jarrell's story, perseverance, and who he's become as a 19-year-old sophomore is remarkable. So you can look for that on Friday at Badger Connect, and plenty more football, basketball content on the way as well.
Thank you, Jesse. Lots going on. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Well, the cabin pressure popped my retina, or whatever this vitreous fluid is, away from my retina. And that's what I'm seeing, is where the gel is of the retina. That's what I'm focusing on. And I said, well, when's it going to heal? And she goes, it doesn't. Your eyeball and your brain will eventually look past it, and you won't see it anymore, but it'll take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to go away.
So you're seeing the inside of your eyeball.
I'm seeing basically the tear in the back of my eye constantly. Wherever I look, it's there. And I can't, out of my left eye, I can't see.
So I'll be honest with you. That's from the Bill Michaels show earlier today. I had saved that for something that we did earlier. That was not the cut that I meant to play. Although, once it started, it's like, well, now I'm just gonna let it go. That's not what I was trying to play. I pressed the wrong one. Although Bill is having vision issues, as he detailed at the beginning of his show. That's not this. It's not the damn it. Not the one I wanted to play. The cut that I wanted to play was that obnoxious dude on Effectively Wild with Kurt Hogue. This is the cut that I was trying to play. This one right here. This is the cut of the day, I would think.
So are you actually selling high, or is everyone kind of on the same page? I don't know.
Are you actually selling high? Folks, if you haven't listened to Kurt Hogue on Effectively Wild, we played some audio earlier on in the show. That is your homework. Tonight or tomorrow, listen to that before we reconvene in 22 hours. I couldn't stand listening to that. They're belittling Kurt. They're talking about how, well, the Brewers, I mean, they've won 97 games, but I mean, they were going to win a World Series. And then Kurt's like, well, yeah, the Freddie Peralta trade, but you're probably selling high on him. And before he can even make his case, these guys
So
are like,
are you actually selling high, or is everyone kind of on the same page? I don't know.
So David Stearns knows that. I mean, does David? I'm not convinced that David Stearns is a good GM. I'll be honest. I don't know. That guy's voice, man.
So are you actually selling high, or is everyone kind of on the same page? I don't know.
I hate that voice. It's attacking, but it's hidden behind a very friendly. Like, are you sure? This has bothered me. But you also got an update on Bill's vision, so it wasn't my intention to play that in the final segment. But.
Well, the cabin pressure popped my retina. Oh,
I'm not trying to laugh at Bill. I'm not. It's funny that I accidentally played this.
And it's I can't out of my left eye, I can't see.
So it sounds like Bill, his brain just needs to correct. And the analogy that I made on his show, or the way I was trying to explain it to myself, was it's like, so you can always see your nose. It's always in your field. It's right here. It's right in front of my eyes. But your brain and your eyes, they're connected in a way where it's like we're ignoring the nose. And I guess Bill, there's something like that. Again, I didn't mean to play that sound. On the topic of Yingling, Bobby in Menominee says Minnesota needs Yingling at their bars. Got stuck drinking a Blue Moon at one this week. How do you get stuck drinking a Blue Moon, man? Drink a Grain Belt, drink a Hams, drink a Miller Lite. Not anything against Blue Moon, but if you don't like Blue Moon, don't act like it's the only thing they have. My stance on Yingling, and it's, if bars are making money and selling it and it's adding to our tavern economy, awesome. I just don't think it's needed. I don't want the East Coast beer in here, just like I don't want the West Coast beer in here. We're from Wisconsin, man. We don't need to import our beers. We're fine. We're good. We got lots of good beers here. So I know some of you are excited about Yingling. Happy for you. Not telling you how to live your life. I'd have been fine without it. It's not because I'm a beer snob. Light beer for Miller, man. The original light beer. I'm good. Yingling. Save that for Ben Kenny. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Maybe hear from Mike Clemens. You should be back from San Francisco. We were talking about maybe chatting tomorrow. So that's what's coming up. Have a great night. I don't know.